In this video, the new Leica Noctilux that I didn't think I'd like, but wow, what a surprise, and a quick look at a Leitzphone. Okay, so today I'm here with a brand new Leica Noctilux 35mm f1.2 on my M5 because my digital one is broken. Yes, oh bum flaps, and this is when it happened. Why is it not working? It's just running really hot.
That's really unlucky.
Well, what pain in the ass that is then?
I'll tell you what, I've got another one in there.
No, I don't want to shell out another several K on a Leica body to use while the other one gets fixed. Although it's got to be said, perversely, at the same time, I am lusting over 7K Noctilux. But spoiler alert, it is a monumental lens. Even the size is far from monumental-like. You know, there's one thing I like about this 35mm Noctilux is the size and weight, especially when you compare it to the 50mm Noctilux. That is one of my all-time favourite lenses, just not one of my all-time used lenses because it's just a little bit too front heavy on the Leica M. The 50mm Noctilux is wild but hugely impractical and will compromise your front bits. It's the leather pants of the lens world. This 35mm Noctilux might be a little bit slower at f1.2, but the smaller size and lighter weight makes this a lens that you could quite happily carry around and use all day, every day. Also, with the focus throw being shorter than the 50, it's a lot snappier to focus for street photography. Well, another great thing about the 35mm Noctilux is that it focuses quite close for a Noctilux. It goes all the way to 50cm. That is really practical. It is rangefinder coupled down to 70cm though, so if you want that practical close-up stuff, you'll need to use live view for accurate focusing. And if you want maximum bokeh, you will need to get close-up, as a 35 1.2 doesn't give you the crazy shallow depth of field like a 50 f1 or faster will. That's perhaps partly why I had some reservations about 35 Noctilux before. Still, it feels easy to tame and it is sharp and sensible somewhat. It could be the only Leica 35mm lens you ever need. I have to say, this might just be a better choice than a Summilux. It's faster. It is also about 2K more expensive for the third to half a stop extra light, but at least the bokeh looks really lovely. And it really does. In the centre, the bokeh balls just melt away. They're just so gooey and delicious-like. And then in the corners, the optical vignetting gives the bokeh balls a more cat's eye shape, if you like that kind of thing. The only thing is, with the straight aperture blades, those bokeh balls quickly become less ball-like as you stop down. On the other hand, with those odd number of straight aperture blades, it should make those sun stars look a bit sweeter. But you know, you kind of expect things to be really lovely and kind of sweet when you're paying not just 2K more than the Summilux, but almost 10 times than the also really lovely Voigtlander 35mm f1.2 Nocton. And by the way, Voigtlander deserve a bit of credit for their 35 1.2 because they did theirs yonks ago. I had the first version, sold it, got goldfish merry, then bought the second version, sold that too. Fantastic lenses. I would happily buy one of the newer smaller ones, which has got to be said is vastly better value for money than the Leica. But you know, if things were ever about value, then Leica would never be in the equation anyway. Is it a more refined lens than the Voigtlander though? Well, of course. It has FLE, floating lens elements, for better performance throughout the focal distance range. It has low distortion, low chromatic aberration, things the Voigtlander suffers from, and it's sharper wide open. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this lens is as sharp at f1.2 as the Summilux is at f1.4. The edges are a bit edgier, more softness, more vignetting, but this is a Noctilux. In my opinion, peak Noctilux was the 50mm f1. It's not a lens for admiring the edge-to-edge performance. Quite often, the corners were almost completely black, but the center pops and the bokeh is supremely dreamy. It is the Noctilux look, pure and utter silly fun chaos. In the case of the 50-095, the Noctilux became a lens that produced a more modern-looking, spherical, more corrected image in an even fatter body. It is a marvel, but I didn't feel like it was as marvellous as the f1, and the 35mm Noctilux has that modern look too. And I think that works better with the 35 1.2 than it does the 50-095. Bokeh and shallow depth of field is not really the most important thing with a 35mm lens. A 35 is a more versatile standard, a perfect one lens to do it all, and this Noctilux is the most versatile of all Leica 35s. It's every bit as easy to use as a Summilux or Summicron, with images as crisp looking at moderate apertures, and they're really quite incredibly sharp, while being able to do a bit of the wild stuff at f1.2. I have to say I did wish it had the old kind of Noctilux magic, but yeah, it has impressed me so much that I can appreciate it for what it is. A compact super fast lens made to offer up everything with as very little compromise as possible. That is, other than the upfront cost. But if you can stomach that and the aesthetic is to your taste, then you can certainly enjoy this silly yet sensible lens that is quite possibly the finest 35mm lens Leica's ever made. Now, before we move on to the Leitzphone, this video is sponsored by Storyblocks. When I'm editing videos like this one, there are always little things that help bring the story together, like establishing shots, background music, sound design, and that's everything that Storyblocks can be useful for. Storyblocks is an all-in-one creative toolkit with a huge library of footage, music, sound effects and templates all in one place, so you can spend less time searching across different platforms and more time actually building your video. The library is also 100% human-made, created by filmmakers and artists around the world, so the footage is real and professionally produced. And everything you download is royalty-free and pre-licensed, which means you can safely use it in your monetized YouTube videos. So to get started with building better stories with Storyblocks, you can use this link right here, and they're offering 15% off any annual plan for a limited time, and that discount is only available through this link here or in the description box down below. Anyway, here we are at Aperture, and oh, this is saucy. What have I just spotted? That's an interesting Leica right there, Dan.
Vintage.
They don't make them like they used to. See? Oh, I've cracked into it. Don't tell Patrick. I'm just sneaking into his cabinet.
17 Ultra, is it?
The Leitzphone, as Leica call it. Is it Leica or Xiaomi? Xiaomi or Leica? Well, underneath the skin, it shares the same hardware. The main cam being a 50 megapixel 1-inch light fusion sensor with f1.67 lens. Quite simply for photos and video, with the bigger than your average smartphone camera sensor with Leica color science, the images from the main camera are really pleasing to the eye. A bonus with the Leitzphone is they add some physical and non-physical features too.
This has got proper aperture on it, you know?
Yeah.
That would be the cool control ring that allows you to do stuff like zoom, change ISO, shutter speed, exposure compensation, or switching between Leica looks. And talking about looks, it also has this essential mode. Well, what you could select the camera.
What's that? You can select M3? No.
That's just black and white, isn't it? I mean, presumably somebody is quite geeky about Leicas who's made this. Well, the camera UI is designed by Leica, so I guess if anyone's going to be geeky about Leica, then it's Leica, right? And it gets geekier too. There's Leica shutter sounds and 5 Leica bokeh simulations, which is a nice novelty, but the stuff that really matters, on top of the already excellent image quality, you've got the option of shooting DNG RAW a la Leica, and it ends up feeling like a very promising package for photographers. Not sure what's going on, but...
I don't understand what that is.
Just Rod Stew on the steps. Or even video peeps. So anyway, I'm testing out the Leitzphone. I'm testing a video on the Leitzphone. This is 4K 30. It does 8K 30.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's have a look. So this 8K 30. In fact, it does 4K 120. Which is not bad.
Wow.
For some reason, I feel like the sound of having that 8K is more impressive than the actual increase in image quality.
Got a Leica pancake there.
Oh, because maybe 200mm, not 200 megapixel.
That is the megapixels.
Yeah, but how can they have 200 megapixels on a...
It does, like, I don't know, multiple shots, isn't it?
on 3.2x? I don't know. Why is it...
Well, let's have a go. Is that 200 megapixels?
Obviously, that is just as simple as this guy. I mean,
This is the one you want to sell, isn't it?
It's the same DNA. Yeah, of course this one is. But it's the same. It's the same DNA, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, very simple controls, nice like.
Oh, processing 200 megapixel image. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a multi-shot. So the other question is, if you then do
iPhone versus Leitzphone.
let's just do JPEG, right? Or HEIF.
Heath.
You got the Heath. Right, put them right next to each other. Right, so
1 times.
1 times.
And we're halfway to doing a really good Wyclef Jean impression.
3.2 times.
Impression failed.
So it doesn't go between 1 times and 3.2.
Do we go 3.2 and 4 then? Let's try that.
In my opinion, for the JPEGs, the most significant difference is the colour in mixed lighting, where the Leitzphone produces something a little bit more pleasing than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Check out the colour on the cameras and lenses there.
I've got 200 megapixels.
Oh look, I've got an advert from Camera World. Yeah,
Look at that.
alright.
200 megapixel image.
Yeah, okay, you got 200 megapixels.
Well, the 200 megapixel shot from the Leitzphone does look clearer. But yeah, that's pretty much all the time I had with the Leitzphone. I feel like for overall image quality, for stills, I actually prefer the colours of the images from the Leitzphone. For video, I still feel like the stabilisation is a little bit smooth on the iPhone, but nothing to really diminish my very positive feeling about Leitzphone cameras. Although I only had a very short time with it, I do think it's got a great set of cameras and photography features. Although the price is a tad bit on the high end, it is only just a slight bit more expensive than the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and it looks absolutely fantastic.
Wow, brass, shiny, shininess.
I think those lenses fit on the front.
How do you fire it? Let's see how the shutter works. Ooh, oh, one more time.
Don't put your finger in there.
Ooh.
Good.
Oh, you got a cigar there.
Oh yes.
Handy.
A bit too big, isn't it? Should be strong enough. Let's see. Oh.
No.
Did it?
Where's the matches?